Welcome back, Hillman students, to Edible Wild Plants of North America 101. Let's jump into our first lesson. Course material for today's lesson can be found in this link above. Leave a comment if you have any trouble accessing it. Today's lesson is about basic plant identification skills and foraging safety. The link I just shared includes this worksheet in the folder. If you want to learn how to identify edible wild plants, you're going to have to practice your observation skills. So that's what we're going to do this week. That's your assignment. You're going to take a look at this worksheet. And if you have any houseplants, or if you're in a warmer climate where there's still plants out, practice your observation skills. Take a look at this worksheet and see if you can distinguish the different leaf shapes that are shown up at the top. Practice distinguishing between the different leaf shapes. Can you tell the difference between a linear versus a lanceolate or an obovate or a spatulate shape? Give it a try. Can you tell the difference between the different leaf tip shapes? This is all going to be important. So all be important for you to practice before you get out in the field. Can you tell the difference between an undulate leaf shape versus a serrated leaf shape or a crenate leaf shape? Take some time practicing. The reference books that I recommended for this course use the terms from the sheet that I just talked about, so it's important to become familiar with them. If you're unable to purchase the books through the link above, don't worry about it. Go to your local library and use an equivalent book. So for your homework, grab a pen and paper, colored pencils, whatever you like, and practice identifying the leaf shape patterns, veination, margin, etc. of plants that are in your home. If you're in a warm climate, the plants outside, or go visit your local plant conservatory or arboretum if on the free days, because low cost. Practice some of the identification of the leaf characteristics and note them in your notebook or sheet of paper. Practice drawing them. Make it fun. The foraging books that I shared as references, which are also located in my Amazon storefront, check link above, use all the terms that we just looked at. So it'll be important for you to get comfortable with these terms when describing shapes of leaves. Pop quiz. Can you identify what the leaf attachment and arrangement is of this plant? This is an edible wild plant. It's called lamb's quarters, also known as wild spinach. We'll talk about this probably maybe around June if I can remember. But anywho, here's a close-up look. Oh, if you're wondering why is this wild plant in our house, well, I collected the seeds and then I put it in my hydroponic garden. That's how. All right, back to the quiz. Enough stalling. Can you tell what the leaf attachment and arrangement is for this plant? Here's another look. Top. And no stressing out aloud about the quiz. All the identification will come to you as you take the course. Next topic on the syllabus is foraging safety. For foraging safety, number 1, check out your local laws. Check to make sure that foraging is allowed. Don't break any laws. And number 2, just because something is edible doesn't mean that you or someone else isn't allergic to it. So once you learn your foraging skills and you become confident in plant identification, try just a little bit of it first and then wait. Don't, go ham on it and eat like a whole bushel of berries or whatever it is that you find. You could be allergic to it, so take it easy. Number 3, make sure you're 100% certain of all the edible components of the plant and when it's edible. Some plants, such as, let's say, juniper berries, their berries are only edible when the berries are ripe. So for juniper berries, it can take 3 years for a juniper berry to ripen. It'll become a dark purplish blue. But if you try and eat it when it's not ripe, you're going to get some stomach upset. For some plants like the dandelion, the entire plant is edible. Flowers, stem, leaves, and roots. There are other plants where only maybe the berry is edible, or maybe only the root is edible. So be 100% certain of what parts of the plant are edible. Another rule for foraging safety is make sure you're 100% certain of if the plant is edible raw versus cooked. There's some edible wild food that it must be cooked first before it's edible. I hope that you enjoyed this lesson. In our next lesson, we're going to learn all about evergreens, how to distinguish different types of pine. Can you distinguish what this is versus what this pine is? We'll learn how to make the identifications by the needles. These are needles. They're cones. And then can you distinguish the difference between a spruce versus a pine versus a fir? And I don't have any fir with me right now. Not F-U-R fir, but but F-I-R, fir tree needles. We'll all learn how to identify the difference between them. But for next week's class, I'll make it out to where I know a fir tree is and get some needles in. So anyways, I'm rambling. We'll learn about that in our next lesson. Let's keep the course interactive. And if you feel comfortable, go ahead and share some of your drawings for the plants that you've taken pictures of, like the leaf shape, or drawn and identified the leaf shape if you'd like to. Let's keep this class fun.